How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, stop everything you doing and go get your shit. I'm dead serious. This video gonna be juicy. Boy, juicy, juicy, juicy. I'm just dragging it on just a bit, my royal family. Go get your shit. I got my grape juice, plenty ice, but I put a spin on it. This time, I squeezed some lime in it. So, my royal family, we gonna go on a journey. Boy, Buttigieg. I told you this was gonna happen. And the things that I'm going to present, my royal family, the media hid some of this stuff. I mean, they brought a little bit forth, but the beauty of the internet, you can dig and dig in the most isolated places in the world looking for articles, and you'll find what you need most of the time. All right, Buttigieg. So, these articles are, a few of these articles are extremely long, especially this one that I'm presenting. And I went over it, I think, 4 times just to really get what this dude was doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm only going to read portions, but y'all will have the link there. So, Democrat Pete Buttigieg overstated pledge of support from black leaders, public figures. Polls show he faced an ongoing challenge finding support for voters of color. And in this journey, my royal family, the act of desperation is incredible. How deceitful Buttigieg is, and also people that's working under him and campaigning for him, his campaign managers and all those people. I mean, it's deep. I ain't gonna say exactly all, because there are some people that do work alone in the campaign. And remember, I was saying they put in some blacks and Mexicans, and they earnestly said they feel like they were a token. And I remember reading an article that someone had mentioned, you know, at first Buttigieg just had all white people campaigning for him, and the energy was an indifference, you know, an indifference. So it also makes me think about my prediction. I remember it was in 1986, and I told someone, I said, the gay community, they discriminate too. And so I done already told Pete Buttigieg again and again, when you're on a platform long enough, you will reveal thyself. And people want to find out what's going on with you. Now, the media has kind of danced around him, but now they're left no other choice but to come towards him, because we know that their choices, they will use that as a badge of armor, like people are discriminating against them. And some people don't want to look like some kind of way. I've made a few videos about folks in the gay community, and I have stated more than once that I have a few people in my family that are gay, and I love them. I don't want nobody to hurt them or harm them. They're still my family at the end of the day, even if I disagree. And I don't like that they put this shit on us in the community, like we're so homophobic. and I always keep saying this, when gay people could not find a place to live, they could always live in the hood, and they could be white, and nobody wouldn't bother them. That's a known fact. That's a known fact. See, we are too inclusive. We'll bring people in our homes and neighborhoods and all of those type of things. And but we, with the awakening and everything, we're looking at things quite different. And I have heard more than once that the enemy say that our royals, the ones that are damn near grown, oh no, let's say from around about 15 to, I'm going to say about 30, it said that they not putting up with this shit. They not. The blinders is off. As we continue on. When Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg touted support for African-American comedian and actor Keegan-Michael Key last week, his campaign was forced just hours later to clarify that the actor had not officially endorsed the former South Bend mayor, telling reporters he only sought to encourage early voting and voter registration. Key appeared with Buttigieg on Saturday to drum up voter support at his Henson, Nevada field office. And see, what you're going to find out in this journey, my royal family, Buttigieg can have one contact with these people or none. The campaign managers and all of them, they may have had a conversation or something like that to who they deem in the African American community prominent. So just pay attention to that, because he don't necessarily know all these people. But this shit, we're just gonna see how underhanded Buttigieg is. So I'm gonna skip that, and so that's that. I've seen that comedian before too. No, he was very adamant, because I have pulled up a number of articles and they kind of cross over. So Buttigieg is trying to give the illusion that he is rising in the polls. We're gonna understand that too, and also, what was I thinking about on this? How dirty and grimy he gets down. So in here, once they got busted on the nefarious things that they were doing, in several instances reviewed by ABC News, Buttigieg campaign identified people as supporters who later said that the interactions had either been misunderstood or misconstrued. The mix-up have came at a crucial moment for Buttigieg's campaign, which has made a concerted effort to promote his desires of inclusivity, even as polls show he's facing an ongoing challenge finding support for voters of color. Remember when he said he didn't want our vote? And I meant to tell you, article was put out on the 18th yesterday. I remember when, a brother got killed down there, and it was in his ass, and one of our queens said, relating to voting, he said he got pissed. He said, I don't want your vote. So anyhow, we know that Buttigieg has this Frederick Douglass plan that he keeps pushing up in the African Americans' face and stuff. And some people said they like it and everything, but they're not endorsing him. So I'm gonna freeze right here. I'm gonna come back to this article, but I want y'all to hear this first video. And just to let you know, I have 2 bonus videos that's juicy.
Pete Buttigieg, after falsely being declared the winner of the Iowa caucus, after getting a 7-10 bump in New Hampshire because of that, well, Pete has to go run to his Wall Street sugar daddies. Dash for cash, the New York Times calls it. 10 fundraisers in 2 weeks. In the compressed and crucial weeks between the New Hampshire primary and Super Tuesday, Pete Buttigieg is moving aggressively to replenish his campaign coffers with an ambitious schedule of 10 fundraisers held across 6 states in a 14-day period. The money chase for Buttigieg began in Indianapolis Thursday at the 16,000 square foot home of a supporter as donors notched on egg salad and cucumber sandwiches. "What a thrill to be back," he said in Indiana. He will soon visit Seattle, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Miami, and Palm Beach, with most of the events built around states that will vote in early March. In addition to Buttigieg himself, this is the part that's like blatantly corrupt. In addition to Buttigieg himself, his national policy director, Sonal Shah, a veteran of the Obama administration and Goldman Sachs, is hitting the road to headline events in Virginia, Maryland, and Ohio, where donors are asked for up to $2,800 to become a, quote, champion and join in a, quote, policy conversation. Some tickets can be had for as little as $54. Oh, thank you for, allowing the proletariat in too. And Buttigieg's husband, Cheston, is featured at another 5 events, with 2 stops in Wisconsin, 2 in Denver, and 1 in Phoenix. So what's incredible to me about this, by the way, first of all, it shows, a lot of candidates throw around the term movement. This is a movement. We hear that from a lot of candidates. But if Pete Buttigieg was actually a movement, let's get something straight. Pete Buttigieg, if Pete Buttigieg was a movement, don't you think performing well in Iowa? Don't you think performing well in New Hampshire, even though the media lifted him to that performance? Shouldn't he have a tsunami of small dollar donations coming in if he's expanding his support? Shouldn't he have a tsunami of small dollar donations coming in where Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, in February has been raising over $1 million a day? No, Pete Buttigieg is running to Wall Street. Why is that? Interesting. Not only is Pete Buttigieg, and when I say Wall Street, obviously he's going all over the country, but he's going to mostly financial people's homes. He's going to mostly executives in the financial industry, executives in the healthcare industry, executives in the tech and Silicon Valley industry. So that in itself is corrupt. It's legalized bribery, as we always say. But beyond Buttigieg going, can you imagine for a second if, I don't know, Warren Gunnels, if you don't know who Warren Gunnels is, he's Senator Sanders' top policy advisor. He's been with him for 20 years, very active on Twitter. Can you imagine if Warren Gunnels was going to like mansions in Silicon Valley or DC or anywhere for quote unquote policy conversations with top donors? Yeah, really what that is, hey, as I'm talking about Pete Buttigieg's top policy advisor, that they're going around as the headliner for fundraisers at a tune of $2,800 a ticket. Hey, here's the empty pad. Write down what you want. I'll give it to Pete. This is what's going on. Of course, it's not put out that way. It's not said, it's not.
Let's keep in mind, my royal family, remember months ago, Buttigieg was making a statement about chump change, and he considered $200. He considered that chump change to him, and one guy had donated $10. He's on a fixed income, and when he heard that, he requested his $10, and it was some other people that requested their money. I totally agree with him on that. So he done got himself put up in a position where he's having to fundraise that hard. That means that shit gonna dry up real soon. And it's nothing more, again, these billionaires and millionaires that he's going to, this is a tax write-off for them.
Not openly stated as that, but when you have your senior policy advisor, who, by the way, is a former Goldman Sachs executive, going around to rich people's homes for quote-unquote policy conversations, is Pete Buttigieg, does he think the American people are idiots? I know the media tries to make the American people stay dumb and numb, but you're literally sending your policy chief around to basically take orders from the plutocracy around the country in exchange for $2,800 a pop. If that isn't corruption, then we don't even have corruption. That corruption there's no standard for it anymore. That is blatant corruption. Pete Buttigieg is literally sending his staff around to rich people's homes, his top policy advisor, to basically take down their orders of what they want. Oh, you want opportunity zones in your neighborhood, i.e. gentrification? Pete Buttigieg says, I'm against Trump's tax cuts. We need to repeal it, but let's keep the opportunity zone portions. Opportunity zone is just a neoliberal phrase for gentrification, for real estate developers to come in, get huge tax cuts, huge tax abatements, and gentrify cities and push poor people out, mostly black, mostly brown, and more often now, poor white people too. So it's disgusting. A journalist should demand answers from him. How are you talking about bringing in a new Washington, a new form of politics, which is a lot of hot air? It doesn't mean anything. It's just consultants putting words in his mouth that he dutifully repeats. But that's not new Washington. That's current corrupt Washington. So we got Joe Biden running around to his sugar daddies and sugar mamas on Wall Street. You got Pete Buttigieg doing the same exact thing all over this country because he doesn't really have small dollar support. Then you have, this was even more crazy to me. I tweeted about it before I went live. So we already know that Pete Buttigieg has had a little problem with a phrase called honesty. Remember that story from The Intercept where Pete Buttigieg's campaign falsely declared that hundreds of South Carolina lawmakers supported him? Remember that? I remember when it came out that in the email that they were sending out, there was a little disclaimer yeah, even if you don't tell us that you endorse Pete, we're just going to say you do. And it came out three very high profile African American lawmakers in South Carolina were we didn't endorse Pete Buttigieg, and his campaign was never challenged on that. As far as I know, he wasn't even challenged about it during a debate. Yesterday, it came out that he was going to get the endorsement of Keegan-Michael Key. Keegan-Michael Key, who's a big comedian. What is that? Key and Peele shows you what I know and how cultured I am. He was going to get the endorsement of Keegan-Michael Key, which would have been a big endorsement. African American. He's big guy in comedy and entertainment. Oh, that's cool. He's getting that endorsement. Pretty good for Pete Buttigieg, right? Well, less than 24 hours later, you can't make this stuff up. Less than 24 hours later, after Pete Buttigieg's campaign puts out that he's getting the endorsement of a big-time comedian, oh, wait a minute. The actor isn't endorsing him. After touting Keegan-Michael Key's support for Pete Buttigieg, the campaign told CNN later Saturday that the actor will now appear at the Buttigieg campaign events simply to encourage early voting and voter registration. Not officially endorse the former South Bend, Indiana mayor as the Democratic candidate for president. Quote, Keegan-Michael Key will be attending events this weekend, including Pete's rally tomorrow, to encourage early voting and voter registration across the state in advance of the Nevada caucuses, Buttigieg spokesperson Chris Meagher said in a statement. The same Chris Meagher who has not responded to status quo now for a week and a half, simply asking for an apology from the campaign for assaulting my cameraman. Quote, Pete's campaign is excited for the voter registration support Mr. Key brings, although Keegan-Michael has not officially endorsed a candidate. But the campaign first told CNN that Key was set to announce his support for the former mayor in Nevada, appearing at early voting locations Saturday before joining a canvass kickoff in Las Vegas and introducing Buttigieg on stage at the rally. The campaign later walked back the support comment and said Key was not officially endorsing the candidate. So let me tell you how this probably went. And again, I don't know for sure. I'm a journalist, but I'm not reporting this. I don't have verification on this. This is just my guess. So Pete Buttigieg's campaign, who again has falsely put out in the past that hundreds of black lawmakers and leaders and influencers in South Carolina support Pete Buttigieg and were endorsing Pete Buttigieg, only for it to be exposed thanks to Ryan Grimm and The Intercept. So they already have this bad habit, reputation for lying about black support. After, by the way, riding to a 7-10 bump in New Hampshire because they lied that he was the winner of the Iowa caucus. The audacity of this man to come out the night of the Iowa caucus with no results yet and just say, "Boop, I won." But now he falsely says that a big-time comedian, Key and Peele, this is Key. Am I getting that right? Sorry, I'm not. Yeah. Michael Key, is endorsing him. So you would think, for a high-level endorsement like this, you would think that maybe Pete Buttigieg himself would talk to the actual person that they're claiming endorsing. You would think that there would be some type of verbal or confirmation, like, yeah, I'm going with you, let me know where to show up. You would think you have some type of confirmation that this guy is endorsing you. But it seems that the Buttigieg campaign, they don't really require that kind of confirmation. If it feels like they could say, this person is endorsing us, if it feels like they could say, black lawmakers in South Carolina are endorsing us, we'll just say it. Because the truth doesn't matter anymore, right? And we could just exploit, whether it's lawmakers in South Carolina that are black or a big-time comedian that is black, we could just exploit it. Well, what probably happened in this case was Keegan-Michael Key saw reports that he was endorsing Pete Buttigieg, and he picked up the phone, called whoever his contacts were with the campaign, and said, I'm not endorsing Pete Buttigieg. I told you I'd come, show up, and tell people to vote early. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders did the same thing? Frankly, I'm not a fan of her. Could you imagine if Elizabeth Warren claimed that a big-time comedian or celebrity was endorsing her and had to walk it back? The media would be all over it. They'd be calling them liars. They'd be doing an investigation. How did this happen? Pete Buttigieg lies about support in South Carolina among black people? Oh, too bad. Must have been a miscommunication. Pete Buttigieg lies. If you want to even give him the benefit of the doubt, let's say for a minute you just want to give him the benefit of the doubt, give his campaign the benefit of the doubt that they didn't lie. It must have been a miscommunication. Wires got crossed. They thought Keegan-Michael Key was endorsing him, but he wasn't. Then you're incompetent. How are you going to be president if you can't even correctly understand if somebody's endorsing you or not? Come on. Hope you enjoyed that last video.
All right, my royal family.
Where you can...
Oh, it gets deeper, my royal family. It gets much, much deeper. So let's go back over here. And let me see here. Something I want to point out. So we have a sister that has a restaurant in Atlanta called Diane's Kitchen. And let me read what she said. Diane said, I stand for what I stand for, and I don't say I have a partnership. And her name is Diane Cole, the owner of Diane's Kitchen. So she told ABC News this on February 14 after being asked by ABC News about Cole's reaction. The campaign sent a series of messages to Cole trying to persuade her to change her position so it would more closely match Buttigieg used in his op-ed. I don't know what this op-ed thing is. I guess some type of vision plan or something he has. And so she had said, let me jump down here. Cole told ABC that she rejected the initial request, telling the campaign, it sounds like you're saying that I'm your business partner. I'm only going to accept that you all stopped in while you were campaigning in South Carolina. Oh yeah, South Carolina, excuse me for that. And I welcomed you all in. So some people came from, the people that work under him for the campaign and stuff, they came in here. She ain't never even met Buttigieg. Okay? I mean, this is some crazy shit. So the Democratic Party contender efforts to demonstrate a commitment to inclusivity and overcome his struggles to find support with voters of color has also included a prominent campaign in which he has touted support for well-known figures in the black community, and some of that support is genuine. So this is what we have here. Buttigieg's top African-American surrogates include Representative Anthony Brown, Reggie Love, former body man to President Barack Obama, and Miss Black America, Ryan Richardson. Yeah, I seen her before. I think I showed y'all a picture of her. So now let's get over here. So, Buttigieg campaign made a god-awful mess in South Carolina and failed to clean it up. Hey, Pete, stop trying to help yourself, man. So, let's get over here. Let's see here. Where are we? Okay, I'm going to read this right here. As ABC story makes clear, that isn't the first time Buttigieg's campaign has tried to run their riff, largely because he's still polling in the petrified forest with African American voters over than showing up in a George Wallace suit. I can't think of a worse way to woo people than to try repeatedly to run this okey doke past them like they haven't spent their political lives seeing through white people's bullshit. And if your whole campaign is based on "we are the world, seek a bright new day" platitudes, this is a what is that there? I can't pronounce it, my royal family. I'm going to skip that word. Okay. This is an authentically god-awful look. As someone wrote a few months ago concerning Buttigieg rally, this was the most important, inspirational corporate retreat I've ever attended. It's funny. Oh my goodness, that is funny. So some of this stuff I'm trying not to read because it's just gonna be repeated in the videos, and I like the I'm a person, I like to I drag, but I like the element of surprise too. Okay. Now, this is a 1-minute video, but it's powerful what Buttigieg is saying.
Voters who represent the diversity of this state. But what we found is if you just have an event and see who finds their way to you, it's not necessarily as representative as when you go out and find voters where they are. And so in particular, as we've been engaging black voters, a lot of the best engagements have happened in a smaller setting, like we were in Monk's Corner last night, when we visited a black-owned winery in the area of Roundeau and talked about rural economic development and black enterprise. When we were in North Charleston talking about health equity with a group of people on the front lines who were clinicians and others really working on making sure we tackle things like the black maternal mortality gap, gaps in cancer detection and so on. But really having that conversation build in a different way than if you just say, here I come. And that's going to be very important. Now, that's only part of the story. I'm also talking to a lot of voters, especially black voters who are deeply pragmatic, want somebody who is going to win, recognizing the urgency of defeating Donald Trump. And so I'm also very mindful that part of how you establish credibility with voters here is to do well in the very first contests in Iowa and New Hampshire. And there are, I think, a lot of voters who won't really be unlocked for us until we've been able to have that show of strength, as I believe we will.
All right. So when he was talking about Monk's Corner, let's go back over here real quick. Monk's Corner. Okay. Let me read this real quick. Okay, so basically, then last week, Buttigieg, let me see the date on this real quick. Okay, this is February 19th. This is today. Okay. Then last week, Buttigieg wrote an op-ed in a major South Carolina newspaper saying his campaign has proudly partnered with local businesses, citing Diane's Kitchen in Chester and Atlanta's restaurant in Monk's Corner. But when ABC News reached out to the entrepreneurs about this new partnership, they only remember welcoming Buttigieg's campaign as customers, not forging any sort of partnership with the candidate. I mean, this shit is deceitful. I mean, it's so deceitful, because what I'm about to bring my royal family, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, it's gonna be what the fuck. That's why I said I got 2 bonus videos. Okay, I don't want to overread some stuff. So, oh yeah, we already got into that one. So, this is the first bonus video, my royal family. Okay, and this date on here is November 19th, 2019. And it is clear to me, at least I thought I made it clear to them, that I was a strong Bernie Sanders supporter, actually co-chair of the state. I was not seeking to endorse that candidate or the plan. Reverend Ivory Thigpen, one of the many prominent black South Carolinas, Buttigieg falsely promoted and as supporting his candidacy. Okay, let's get a picture of this brother. So that's the brother that made that statement. But the video, fire. Okay, got it all the way. Cool.
So 2020 candidate Pete Buttigieg tricked hundreds of prominent South Carolinians into backing his Douglas plan for Black America, and also somewhat tricked them into endorsing him as a candidate. So this is a story from Ryan Grimm at The Intercept. So he puts it out here. Pete Buttigieg touted 3 major South Carolina supporters on his Douglas plan for Black America. They were alarmed when they saw it. And again, it's not just these 3, so they pushed out kind of the big 3. but then there's 400 other people that apparently back this plan. But when we get into it here, so I'm going to have to hunt a bit because there are some pieces here I want to read. It's going to become clear these people never actually supported what he wanted them to support. So to build support for the plan, Buttigieg and his staff lobbied prominent black South Carolinians to endorse it in order to strengthen the cause of racial justice. The Washington Post reported on Monday that Buttigieg persuaded hundreds of prominent black South Carolinians to sign onto the plan, even if they are not supporting Buttigieg himself. So let me highlight this here for a second. Hundreds of prominent black South Carolinians. The Washington Post reports this. Here's the facts. So, and this is just, there's a lot wrong with what's going on here. This is just the first piece. So the first piece here is that 62% of the names, as you're going to see here when I bring it up, 62% of the 297 names that can be reliably checked are white. So Buttigieg sold this plan to other people in South Carolina as well, other prominent black South Carolinians, sold this plan to them as, oh, look at this plan we have, this plan, the Douglas plan for Black America. We have all these black supporters from South Carolina supporting it. Will you support it? Half of the people that support it are white. Now, again, this is just the beginning. So there's more to this piece, actually. Multiple names on the list appear to be from people who do not live in South Carolina. One person seems to not live in the U.S. at all, but in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Again, we're just getting started because one of the three prominent endorsers, so I mentioned there at the beginning, there are three prominent endorsers that the campaign rolled out. One of them has endorsed Bernie Sanders. So one of the big names that Pete Buttigieg and his campaign are using to say, this big South Carolinian endorses our plan, has endorsed Bernie Sanders and never endorsed the plan. So this is, he's a state rep, Ivory Thigpen. So Thigpen, meanwhile, has endorsed Bernie Sanders for president and was startled when he learned the campaign had not only attached his name to the plan, but also listed him as one of the three prominent supporters atop the letter. How it was rolled out was not an accurate representation of where I stand, Thigpen told The Intercept. I didn't know about its rolling out. Somebody brought it to my attention, and it was alarming to me, because even though I had had conversations with the campaign, it was clear to me, or at least I thought I made it clear to them, that I was a strong Bernie Sanders supporter, actually co-chair of the state, and I was not seeking to endorse their candidate or their plan. But what I had talked about was potentially giving them a quote of support and continuing the conversation, because I do think it's a very important conversation. So they took this, the Buttigieg campaign took this as an endorsement of the plan and used this guy's name. A co-chair of Bernie Sanders used this guy to say, look who supports our plan. But there's more. So how did they trick these people? So if you think we're done, your mind might be blown by this piece here. And this is after publication. So the Buttigieg campaign came out, reacted to this. After publication, the campaign said it had sent the plan to the list of supporters and asked them to opt out if they did not want their name included on the list. That email also specified that the list was meant to represent over 400 black South Carolinians. They got people, or they asked people to opt out if you don't agree. So it's like somebody sending you an email one day. Look, I get a lot of emails. I don't read a lot of them because I can't. I just don't. We all get a lot of emails. A lot of it's spam. You don't read every email. Imagine getting an email. Imagine you're a prominent figure. You're a political figure, and Pete Buttigieg, this campaign emails you. Here's our plan. If you don't agree with it, then reply to us and opt out. You had to engage with the campaign. You had to actually email them back to say, no, I don't endorse it. No, don't use my name. or else they use your name. I have never heard of anything like this. This is completely insane. And on top of that, they sold in the email. They were telling people over 400 black South Carolinians support this plan, even though half of them are white. If anybody else did this, if the Bernie Sanders campaign did this, he'd be done. That's it. Media reports 24/7. Oh my God, Bernie's got to drop out. Look what he fooled black South Carolinians into endorsing his plan. They never endorsed it. He's got to drop out. This is crazy. This is just completely dishonest. How can you possibly have a candidate like this in the Democratic primary? Buttigieg does it. Let's see if there's even a report on it. Unbelievable. So this has to get more coverage. This is completely nuts. I've never heard of anything like this. And we're not done yet. Let's just end on the stock photo. If you thought you've seen something, wait till you see this. I mean, this is just probably, I wouldn't say worse, but just as bad as everything else. Here you go. On top of everything else, the Buttigieg campaign used a stock photo from Kenya to promote its Frederick Douglass plan for Black America. That's the photo they used, and it's from frickin' Kenya. How can anybody that knows anything about anything support Pete Buttigieg? This guy is so phony. Has flip-flopped on a number of issues. Medicare for All, at the beginning of the year, he was talking about how Medicare for All is actually a compromise, which he was right at the time of saying that. Medicare for All is a compromise because, for example, in the UK, there's the NHS, the National Healthcare Service. Medicare for All is a single-payer system. It's a compromise. It's in the middle. Now he's saying Medicare for All goes too far, way too far. We can't just rip people off of their private insurance and give them better insurance for less money. No, we can't do that. We got to give them the public option, give corporations time to drain the public system of resources as they offset all the sick people onto the public system, and then show people that, here, look, you definitely, Medicare for All is a horrible plan, because look at how we completely gutted it in these 4 years under Pete Buttigieg's plan. He's such a dishonest guy. This, on top of everything else, he's got it, like, any normal campaign race, like any time where the media would actually cover things objectively, Pete Buttigieg would be asked to drop out after this. This is horrible, but that's not going to happen.
All right. And again, remember, that was done back in November of 2019, and he's still doing the same shit. That's why I always point out dates, so we can fully absorb that on our frontal lobe. So check this out. Douglass plan, the boldest plan in 2002 candidate field to combat the effects of systemic racism, make comprehensive investments in black communities. Below is a op-ed that will run in the Carolina Panorama this week, announcing the support over 400 black South Carolinians for the plan. Given that you have signed on as an endorser, you will be included in the list of endorsements attached to opinion piece. If you do not want your name, okay, blah, 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 and then below, okay. So here is something else. Let me blow this up. I know y'all should be able to see that. Yeah, that's nice and big. And so we see it up here on the top. He got HBCU Times, more than 400 South Carolinians endorse Pete Buttigieg, Douglass Plan for America. And then there's various names. And down here, they grimy. And I do agree with that guy that, see, they've been giving him a pass because he is gay. and they don't want to be accused of being homophobic. It's like a chokehold. And these people, you know, when you throw your hat in the arena and you in the that type of arena, it's grimy. You know, they jockeying for power and everything. You know, this is really deep. And the other part that pisses me off, there's this brother here, that pisses me off, he does this type of shit and he think black people are dumb. I'm telling you something I know with his actions, where it's like we don't read, we don't engage, talk, know anything, that, you know, their perception of us is deep. And I did want to real quickly say, when he came up here last week to San Francisco, he got booed. He has some supporters, but not a lot. Even the gay community is not feeling him, because at the end of the day, folks is worried about a roof over their head, worried about medical and all of that. And just because this person choose to live that lifestyle don't necessarily mean, you know, that, okay, we both did that, so I'll just vote for you just because. That's just like the black vote. You know, Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, you know, they were very pacific during the time that they threw their hat in the arena, and we just supposed to automatically vote for them. No, we want to see your damn record. And then, you know, Afro Synergy did a breakdown on one of the debates that they had, and that other billionaire, I can't remember his name, he had brought up reparations, and down the road, none of them would use the word reparations. They was just bullshitting. See, they playing with us. They playing with us. Now, as Trump tears down the Republican Party, the Democratic Party is imploding in on their self too as well, because they want us to keep going along and getting along. So they've been telling our folks for years to wait. We ain't waiting for shit. It's time when you are regaining and claiming your throne, it ain't gonna be an easy walk. It ain't gonna be. But one thing that I do know, once we get back on our throne, we're going to stay there, because this shit is painful. So, here is the next bonus video. And it's short but powerful. Well, audio, excuse me. Actor Jeffrey Wright, Pete Buttigieg stacking black folks behind him at the Iowa rally. A fuck you to black America. Ooh, he was pissed. I like that actor too. So let's listen to this.
Actor Jeffrey Wright, Pete Buttigieg stacking black folks behind him at Iowa rally. A fuck you to black America. By David Ng on February 4, 2020. Actor Jeffrey Wright called out Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg over what actor implied was conspicuously placed black supporters at the presidential candidate's Iowa caucus rally, where he prematurely declared victory. At the televised event late Monday, Buttigieg was seen speaking in front of rows of supporters. The first row of supporters consisted of 6 black individuals who occupied the center of the TV screen so that they were the most visible faces behind the candidate. Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, has been polling low among black voters and has so far failed to muster much enthusiasm among that demographic. Jeffrey Wright implied that the sight of 6 black Buttigieg supporters in Iowa standing behind the candidate was staged. Stacking black folks behind your candidate at the speech is basically fuck you, black America, you're an idiot, Wright said. Iowa's the new black, or what going on back there? The actor added. A woman named Asenam Lamewona claimed on Twitter to be one of the supporters in the front row at the Buttigieg event. She also claimed that she was asked 3 times to move away from her friends in order to be placed in the picture with the candidate. That's me in the front on the right of Buttigieg. I was asked 3x to move away from my friends in order to be placed in pictures #tokenism, she wrote on Twitter early Tuesday. By Tuesday afternoon, her Twitter account had been switched to private. Keith Boykin, a CNN political commentator, echoed Wright's skepticism about Buttigieg's rally. Franklin Leonard, the Hollywood film executive who created The Blacklist, an annual survey of the best unproduced screenplays, also voiced skepticism over what he called the staged placement of the women at the rally. Follow David NG on Twitter at HatesDavidNG. Have a tip? Contact me at dng@breitbart.com.
All right. One thing that I noticed about the research that I was doing, you notice that people did not bring up his sexuality. And I have read numerous articles where he will bring that up when he's interviewed. He tries to steer away from that. And I had read an article where he, I think I told y'all that the other day, where he was going to speak at a gay club, and because there was a pole on the stage, his campaign manager didn't feel like that was a bad look and everything. And the gay community has said that it's like he's trying to hide it. When he ran for mayor, he revealed that after he became a mayor and everything. And at the end of the day, all he is doing is taking advantage, first and foremost, of being a white male, and then also being gay to keep people off of them. They're going to be judged. That's just like the fake Jews. You say any inkling of anything about them, and they coming at you at full force. And this is what we need to do, my royal family. We give them no breather. We give them no air. And we've been doing that. We done stepped it up. We really have. We've been coming at them. Like I love the new black media, because y'all have a hands-on. Do y'all realize that back in the day, we didn't have a hands-on? Even though we had some black media, that when you render your voice and you do what you do and everything, you have an impact. And that's energy. We're coming together. And so we basically, I just wanted to show, which this is not surprising to the royal family, how deceitful and disgusting Buttigieg really gets down. Let me find something here that just really got under my skin about him. This game that he played, I think is right here. Let me see here. Nope. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. I've seen a number of pictures where he's sitting up in the black church and stuff. And it just feels so disingenuous to me. Just the feeling of it, and he's trying to look like he's so inclusive. Well, what he's doing is banking on black women to carry you along. And see, the Democratic Party has used the black woman, and also they try to encourage these sisters to be very dismissive of our men and stuff. And black men vote just as equally as black women. When they had that special election, Crete Royal Moore, where they wanted to get rid of, it was like black women voted, like they said, like 97%, and black men was like 94%. There ain't no difference. It's just a few damn numbers. So he's trying to do that great divide. Ain't gonna happen, Buttigieg. We are out of our captivity. And you trip off of that. That dude had he put down 400 supporters, and half of them was white, And he didn't think nobody wasn't going to know about that? That's deceitful. That is really deceitful. He should have been gone a long time ago. A long, long time ago. And it's just a matter of time. I can't find what I'm looking for. It's just a matter of time before Pete Buttigieg is truly removed. So let's not lose sight here. Pete Buttigieg, embarrassing attempt to garner black voter support. Buttigieg campaign sent out an email announcing the support over 400 black South Carolinians. There were just a few problems, however. And then they say here, 1, at least 42% of the people on the list were white. 2, many of the people on the list didn't actually support Buttigieg. 3, the campaign used a stock photo of a Kenyan woman. Boy, you are crazy, Buttigieg. This is what it is, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe, grimy asshole.